Isn't there a better, less antiquated word than retirement? I often hear people lamenting the term, and I agree there is a need for a new word. It would be great to call it something else. I'd love to hear your ideas for what to call this most interesting phase of life. But before we explore some other possible names for life past about age 60, let's have a history lesson. How did the word retirement come into being in the first place, and why do we use the word? In 1935, when Social Security was first enacted, the age of retirement was set at 65. Life expectancy at birth in 1930 was only 58 years for men and 62 for women. Now that's actually a little bit misleading because life expectancy at birth in the early decades of the 20th century was low due to high infant mortality. If this interests you, I have a link in the workbook where you can see the Social Security archive on this. Today, average life expectancy is just under 80 years, and many live much longer. We'll actually take a deep dive into life expectancy soon. But the relevant point is, in 1935, when the term retirement came into popular usage, it was a pretty apt word. In the 1930s, if you made it to 65, you were in the last phase of life, and you were stepping back. You were retiring away from active working life, and the word retirement made more sense. However, the word doesn't capture the essence of what we experience now. If you retire in your 60s today, you might have 20, 30, even 40 more years of productive life to fill, and that is way too much time for a word whose definition means withdrawing. So let's look at some other words we could consider. I want to thank Sarah Lawrence Lightfoot and New Retirement Newsletter for some of these suggestions, and we'll take them alphabetically. Please make a note of any that appeal to you, and I would love to hear your ideas. So one idea is arrivement. You have made it. And you could also say it with a French accent, which would be very cool. Arrivement. Encore life. Encore career. Happyment. Joyfulment. Jubilation, or jubilación in Spanish. Jubilation in English means making a joyful noise. And celebrating. Happy jubilation. I like that. Life 2.0. Life 3.0. Maturation comes from the Latin word maturare, to ripen, to bring to maturity, with derivatives meaning occurring at a good moment, timely, early, seasonable. Maturation also means the time when debts or financial obligations come due, so this word reflects both the financial and the psychological aspects of this time of life. It's an honest but flattering description of getting older. My time. A time that is all our own when responsibilities are minimized. Protirement. I thank my friend Sandy West for coming up with this one. Some call it pretirement. Retirementhood. Retirements, plural, meaning that it's just the first of many transitions moving to the next phase. Rewirement. ROP, rather old personhood. Transition, meaning life is a series of transitions from one phase to another. In each new phase, we have a new understanding of ourselves and the word, traveling with that knowledge in and out of those phases. And in that sense, one never becomes retired. Third, active life, third chapter of life gets quite a bit of airplay thanks to the book titled The Third Chapter of Life by Sarah Lawrence Lightfoot. Your third chapter is where you leave your legacy, focus on what is most important to you, and do some things you couldn't do during the peak of your career. Third stage of life, third of life. So those are a few examples that might move your molecules for describing what I hope will be the most fulfilling time in life. Maybe, as Shakespeare suggests in Romeo and Juliet's What's in a Name line, the naming of things is irrelevant. But it does seem that the word retirement is an outdated word, and I, for one, would like to see a descriptive word for an exciting, vital time of great growth and fulfillment in life.